Hi. So, today I'm going to talk about something that I'm sure a lot of you have heard about in the past 4 or 5 days, and that's the DaddyOFive controversy. Um, Now, a lot of YouTubers are hating on the parents of the family, and I guess my point would be what they're doing to their children is they're showing them hate, and if perchance the parents actually see this video, please stay tuned and listen. And as you see, the children, they don't respond well to that environment, that emotional and physical, at times, abuse. Now, whether they consider it abuse isn't the point, because we have people who have been abused saying, yes, this is emotional abuse and at times physical. You have people that haven't been abused saying, yes, this is emotional abuse and at times physical. Then you have the parents saying, asking the children if they're abused. Well, that's not how it works. Um, your children don't get to say, "Oh, no, 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 it's okay. We're not being abused." After you abuse them, they don't get to decide that. You've had CPS called on you before. I'm sorry if I'm talking as if to this person, but that's not a good thing. That means that there is something wrong and something needs to change. Now, just because they didn't take your children away doesn't mean there wasn't abuse. It means they couldn't find abuse. It means that you potentially lied well enough to hide the abuse. Now, you might not have considered it lying. However, if they saw these videos, I think maybe you might have your children taken away one day if it continues. Recently, your child smeared feces across a wall. That's an extreme form of lashing out when being abused, and that's something you need to understand, that it's not your child's insane like this, like the mother is saying. Your child is lashing out, trying to get your attention, trying to say, stop, please don't. As best he can, he can't verbalize what he wants to say, and sometimes when he does verbalize it, he's being met with deaf ears. What needs to happen now is you need to understand that there is a problem, that the behavior is not okay, and overwhelmingly so. You can't just say, oh, it's just haters. Well, that's a good way to get away with anything, really. I could shit on somebody's face and say, oh, he's just a hater. He's mad at me because he's just a hater. Or anybody who's mad at me for doing it is just a hater. No, that's not how it works. People are allowed to be upset. Now, the problem is you're getting death threats. I understand where they're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from. It's never okay to receive death threats. At the same time, it's not okay to abuse your children. There are two wrongs occurring, and neither one cancel each other out. You can't threaten people, you can't threaten to kill people, and you also can't be abusing your children. So, what needs to happen now is you need to say, okay, take a step back, relax, think about it, say, how can I make this so it's no longer abusive? What can I change in my own behavior, in how I handle what my children do, to cease the neglect and abuse that's occurring? And one of the things you can do is not push them, not hurt them when they're doing something bad. I'm not saying you can't punish your children. Of course you can punish your children. What the problem is you're not punishing them, you're just hurting them to hurt them. And there seems to be a repeated pattern of you get upset over the tiniest things, and that's not on your children. That's on you. If you're getting that upset that you lose control, that's your fault, your response to your children. Now, they may have done something wrong, but just like the death threats and the abuse, two wrongs don't cancel each other out. They're not canceling each other out. They're just both wrong. So what you need to do is you need to sit down and say, well, this is why you can't do this. You can't just start screaming. Who listens to that? If you can name me one person who listens to screaming in a positive tone or in a positive light, they say, oh, I got screamed at, I'm going to be better because of this. No, that's not how it works. They internalize it, especially as children. And if somebody showed up to your work and just started screaming at you, what would you do? Fuck off, right? Now, that's a bit obscene, but yeah, pretty much all of us, if somebody's being a complete jerk, we have a breaking point in which we do say, fuck off. Now, your children, their breaking point is much lower than yours. Although, it does appear that it's kind of on the same level, even though you should have a higher breaking point. What you need to understand is that there is a problem. It needs to change. And denying it or continuing the behavior and trying to justify it is not the answer. Maybe that's how you were raised. I don't know you. I don't know your situation. But that's not okay. If you were raised like that, I would tell you that that wasn't okay for your parents to do that to you. I've seen multiple videos now where it's sad. As somebody who's experienced it, it is sad. What's gonna end up happening is you're gonna isolate your family. Your family's gonna resent you. It is what it comes down to. When you're old, you're gonna be miserable and alone because your family won't want to be around that. They won't want to be around some jerk. Just like if if you were constantly doing the right thing, saying this is why you can't do this, and explaining it, and maybe having a punishment that's not physical, not belittling the child, and they kept being misbehaving anyway, you wouldn't want to hang around that child anymore once they turn 18. So you really need to cease the behavior, cease the vileness in it. And you may not see it that way, but that's what's there. There's an objective truth to everything, and that's the objective truth that people are trying to tell you. Many people are trying to tell you that this is not okay. So what I really think needs to happen, I can't stress it enough, the behavior needs to stop. And your children are going to fuck up. It's going to happen. That's just a part of life and growing up. But your reaction needs to be better. You can't be on their level. Is it children raising children? Grown children raising children? Now, I'm not sure if there's a drug problem or something, because from what I did see, it did appear like your eyes were seemingly unblinking and they were a little bit black. Maybe that's a camera. It almost seemed like a pillhead or an alcoholic. And I grew up with an alcoholic. It seemed different than an alcoholic, but maybe it's because my alcoholic stepfather wasn't, to put it not so nicely, stupid. He wasn't stupid. So he wouldn't say you're stealing if I took food to my room and ate it, or took a water bottle and drank a water bottle. That's not stealing, that's using. Now, maybe he forgot to throw it away after, but he was still using it. And furthermore, if I'm going to just be a little bit of an ass, which I don't want to be, you say that that's for your wife to use. Which is completely separate. It's a completely separate video, but your videos are they're all kind of vile. You say that the Atkins bar for your wife to use. Well, it doesn't appear that she's using it, first off. And secondly, the Atkins bars actually aren't that great for you. If you're going to do the Atkins diet, what you should probably do is stick with cheeses, meat, and stay away from breaded products. Now, the Atkins bar, it does say it has a net of 2 grams, but a lot of people can't lose weight if they're eating that. So what you might try is swapping to water instead of like a decaffeinated or a diet soda, even though it doesn't have carbs. You might try that. And maybe she'll lose weight. Now, once this happens, she might be nicer, because it does seem like she's a part of it. She's a part of the problem. And when people are overweight, and this is just a contributing factor, perhaps a lack of experience in dealing with children on top of being overweight is causing this confusion, this confused state where you guys are doing things that aren't correct. Now, if you decide, you know what, I'm going to keep doing it, I'm telling you right now, your kids are going to be taken away by CPS. You're going to have an internet full of people who don't care, who are going to say, you know what, you deserved it. Here's a statistic not a lot of people know. Children are 66% more likely to be abused after being taken away from CPS. The problem is they're being abused right now too. So there's a 66% chance that they're going to be abused afterwards too. You're not creating a good condition for your children, not a good living environment. Now, sure, you're giving them things, material things. Children don't need material things. They need love. They need kindness. They need to be told when they're doing something wrong and explained why they can't do it. They can be punished for doing something wrong, but not emotionally or physically abused. I hope DaddyOFive hears this. I hope that there is a change made. I hope they don't lose their children if they can change, because chances are they're going to suffer abuse to somebody else, and that could range anywhere from more severe physical abuse, more severe mental abuse, to sexual abuse. And that's not something that you want to see happen to a child. So please consider what needs to change. Don't just say, oh, no, fuck you. Because if you maintain that attitude, sooner or later, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. I hope it works out. Have a good day.